Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Blab Show on Double Your Business in 90 Days or Less. I'm your host, Leslie Kassler. We are live every Monday afternoon at 1:30 here on Blab. You can also catch us on iTunes and all our replays at yourbizrules.com. So today we have with us a great guest. I'm really excited to share with her, and we're going to have a lot of fun. But her name is Bertine Hage, and she's known as the Customer Experience Architect. And she's a renowned international speaker. She'll find she's very polished in that. She's an accomplished trainer, consultant, and the founder of this elite customer experience formula. We're going to talk about why that's important. So you want to make sure that you stick around for that. But Bertine teaches a really luxury brand. And I will say, if you watch this show, you know we preach on pricing on value, not on time. If you do that, you are a luxury brand. I will just give you permission to include yourself. But we're going to talk about how to boost sales through irresistible service and build structures that deliver that kind of knock your socks off customer experience that turns our regular clients into raving fans. So if your clients aren't giving you referrals, you also need to be paying attention to what we're going to share today. But Bertine will share us with her secrets to create this kind of one-of-a-kind experience, that do wow your clients and will pay you back many times over. This is the gift that keeps on giving. So with that, welcome, Bertine. How are you today?
Oh, fantastic. So great to be on this call. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very honored and sharing some insights with everybody who's on the line. So great. Wonderful to be here.
Well, thank you for joining us. Now, I always just give the briefest bit of a bio, but if you'd like to share a little bit more about yourself so everybody knows where you come from, that'd be great.
Oh, absolutely. I've been immersed in the luxury hospitality industry for over 3 decades, actually, and I've held the position of chef concierge. So, and that's nothing to do with cooking. I just cook up miracles for a guest. And over the years, I've done some really crazy stuff, from putting bulls and crocodiles in restaurants and finding belly dancers that were lost and getting pizza to a yacht in the middle of nowhere, and dealing with a very discerning, high expectation clients that is the typical client for any luxury resort hotel. So over the years, I kind of fine-tuned what I did and had teams that needed to perform consistently, whether I was there or whether I was not there, whether I was taking vacation or traveling on the private jet around the world with just a handful of really very, 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 very top VIP clients. I needed to leave teams behind for 7 weeks at a time. And I didn't want to come back to a slew of emails where things were just, you were pulling your hair out going, why on earth did this happen? I can't go away. And so over the years, that became kind of my own way of doing things. I developed systems with my teams, systems of how to take care of people. And I realized that what I was doing actually was a bit of, Bertine's formula that was teachable to others. So people started coming to me and saying, hey, you do something right. Teach me. And that is what the start was for my business. But it didn't happen overnight. It's, when I started 30 years ago, I moved here from Holland, actually. I grew up in a family of a dad is a veterinarian and 2 sisters, and Dad said, oh, I'd love you to be a veterinarian. I couldn't see myself come home with manure and boots and C-sections of cows, and that just wasn't me. So it's I was a bit of an adventurous type. I was the failed wannabe architect in archaeology. That's what my university degree was. And I wanted to find another Tutankhamun grave, something really exotic. And of course, when I was done with my university, I thought, that's not going to happen. What kind of solution is that? So I was married at the time, had this dream of living somewhere else in the world. We both packed up the bags from Holland and moved to Canada, settled in Vancouver, where I still reside these days. And then the whole world just changed a little bit. You know how you have these, I'm sure you've all had these visions when you're 18, right? You're going to get married, and you're going to have 3.5 kids, and you're going to grow old together and die when you're 104. Both happily living ever after. And that didn't happen.
So let me
My
ask you
marriage
a question.
starts.
Let me ask you a question. You've been doing what you've been doing and providing this luxury experience for clients for a while. One of the questions I want to ask you, because you either have people that fall in one of two buckets. Either they love doing this or they resent it out the wazoo. Talk to me about why you love doing this, because you've done it for so long.
Why I love taking care of people?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's the best thing. You know, I so am a firm believer that service, when it's kind of irresistible, when it is almost magnetic and almost like an addiction, because you make people feel so good about how you treat them, that leads to a much more fun life and it boosts sales. Your brand gets known, your business, whether you're just a tiny operation or whether you have huge teams in a large corporation. Once you get known for really taking care of your people and deliver that impossible, and people feel so awesome when they do business with you, they'll just come back. It's a no-brainer.
It's a fun way of doing business.
Pardon?
It's a fun way of doing business, isn't it?
It's a great way of doing business.
Yeah.
It's just a necessity, you know, and with the world these days that is open for everybody to view, now that the social media is there, the world is there, people share opinions about everything and anything. And so people are also a lot more aware of what your competition is doing, what's out there, what's possible. And they like to get a piece of that. You know, it's anybody ever flown first class in a flight? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, the next time you fly back on the bus in economy, you go, you know what, I kind of like first class. Right?
Yeah.
It's being treated well, luxury, but not luxury as in marble and mahogany, luxury as in being taken care of, being understood, being appreciated, being served that's right for you.
Well,
that is so easy to get used to.
You also bring up a good point. I think as we become more and more in this digital age, more of us are just numbers. So orders that fly through, maybe you can get a customer service person, maybe you can't, and you've lost that humanality that we actually crave from each other. So when we do something like put in this elite customer experience, which we're going to talk about in a second, it makes people feel special, and people are willing to pay to feel special, aren't they?
Absolutely. To me, that's the key to business success. If you see a dollar sign on every forehead of your clients that you do business with, you can see them as a count, as a revenue stream. Of course, we all want to make money in business. That's why we are in business. We need to be profitable. But the door in, besides having a great product and a great service, whatever you offer, is the way you and your teams deliver it. It's an absolute necessity, and more so than ever before, compared to where we were 10 years ago. It's very, very necessary right now.
I agree, and I think I talk with my clients so much about there's marketing dollars that you spend, and there's the obvious ones where you're advertising and networking and all of these outreach type of marketing tactics. But this idea of a customer experience program is more of an internal thing that maximizes all of that marketing dollar you just spent on a client and helps them talk about you. You're giving them the reason to talk. So I want to hear what your definition of an elite customer experience is.
That's a good question. I don't know if I can really define it. It's for everybody different. It comes down to the core of really knowing your client, knowing what they like, what they dislike, what they prefer, don't prefer, knowing them as if you know your closest friend, and building that relationship. So an elite customer experience client varies depending on what they need. But it comes down to a great deal of personalization and customization for that particular individual, and not something.
I think that's a big mistake I hear people talk about, especially if they have a referral program or something like that, is, well, it didn't motivate everyone. Well, it's because a $25 gift card to a restaurant doesn't necessarily motivate everyone because it needs to be personalized.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about the first 3 reasons that people need to put a client experience program together now for their business.
First of all, it will boost their sales. You will see an increase in business because people love doing business with you. I often tell people, if you have the same coffee on the coffee place, a name a neighbor if you're popular with, and they're on each side of the intersection, and at one you get treated better and people remember what you like in your coffee and where you went on vacation, and remember your name and say, oh, can I get you the same grande latte with an extra shot of cappuccino and a drizzle of caramel on top, versus somebody say, hi, can I help you?
Yeah.
That's a big difference. And that boosts your sales. You can see it on a very small scale and just follow your own habits. Where you go to get your coffee, if you have the choice, could be the same brand. And if one has employees that really take care of their clients and the other ones don't, you go to the one where people say, hey, Leslie, great to see you again. Can I get you the same coffee you had yesterday?
Yep.
Whatever, that's banana bread. You loved it yesterday, right? It's that kind of thing. So you need to have it in place because it boosts your sales. It also builds your image because you get known for being different, for people that have helpful employees, or you as a business owner are very helpful, and extend yourself a little bit more. I talk often about having the 2 scoop mindset, where you just need to add 2 more scoops of effort, 2 more scoops of value, 2 more scoops of what people really are not expecting, but you give them. So that is coming down to being very anticipatory in your thinking, just knowing what the next thing is that people will ask. So that boosts your brand. People will again come back to you. And the last thing is you can, especially when you have teams, just have a lot more fun in your business and relax in your business, because you don't come back cringing Monday morning. Like, oh crap, now I have to open that inbox and let's see who I need to talk to and who I need to apologize to and where am I wrong. And like, who needs that? None of us do. And it's when you have this in place and it's like a solid, well-pieced machinery that just one piece works with the other, then you have a lot more relaxation and fun in your life, really. Then you look forward to coming back on Monday and not having to open up that inbox and preach. And the last thing is you can probably spend a lot less on marketing, because taking care of your existing clients is so much easier than finding new ones.
It is. So we've talked about a lot of things. We've talked about the fact that a customer experience program can help boost sales, help retain customers, and then because they're so happy, you give them something to talk about, which I think is a great 3 reasons that we would be doing it. Now, so that means, guys, if maybe your sales aren't where you want them to be, the best money you can put is investing in the clients that you have. It's the easiest money to be made out there is when you maximize your client value and help them bring people that they love, therefore you love, into your business. Now, Amy, let's take a break here and do a couple of shout outs. We are on the Double Your Business show. We are talking about the client experience program, how to help your clients fall in love with your business and stay. But let's do a couple of shout outs. Let's see if we have a few people.
Yeah, terrific. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, wasn't sure. All right, so we want to welcome, looks like iMain and I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. So thank you for joining us. And we have Amin Leo here as well. So thank you for joining us. And we have a whole bunch of you who are watching but aren't live, and we want to shout out and welcome you here and encourage you to join live. And in a little while, when Leslie and Bertine are ready to take questions, we'll open up a seat and you can join in there. So come on over.
Awesome. So we are talking about this idea of a client experience, and it is a marketing strategy That's kind of the more the bucket I put it in. But, you know, as Bertine's already shared with us, it's about system, it's about process, it's about consistency, and it all adds in. So this is just one of the marketing strategies that we share during the show. There's actually like 87 other strategies. If you'd like to grab just a quickie little handout of what those strategies are and how you could use them in your business, you can head over to yourbizrules.com/marketing quick fix, and Amy will put that on. All right, so Bertine, here's our next question. What's the biggest mistake that business owners are making that disappoint their clients?
I think the biggest mistake is that they see customer service as a department very often, and that they think it's just one or two individuals who are responsible for that. Well, in reality, it should be everybody in your company, big or small, that is responsible for that. Everybody contributes to create a wonderful customer experience. It could be an accounting department, it could be a valet, it could be at the front door, it could be your retail part. It needs to be woven into the culture of your company, where everybody feels that they are responsible for the customer experience, no matter what role they take on. And so where they make a mistake is that they are living in silos, in departmental sections, rather than one big team. And it's inconsistent. So your clients will come in thinking, okay, great, this is wonderful. They have a great experience one day, and the next day return and they deal with another colleague. And it sucks. And people don't have a lot of tolerance anymore for crappy service.
Nope.
Yeah, and everybody needs it now. Everybody needs it fast. Everybody needs it flawlessly. Everybody needs it with a smile and some kindness woven into it. And when that's inconsistent in your company, no matter how great you could have super top performance, but if you have one rotten apple on the team and you allow that subpar performance to continue, then you're setting yourself up for a failure, because that one individual or one department can do a lot of damage.
You know, there was a quote that I heard from Bunny Williams, who's a very famous interior designer, and she talked about you could work with a high-end client for years and deliver everything absolutely spotless, and at the end, if a lampshade was what got messed up on the job, that's what they remembered you for, not the 3 years prior of spotless service. It was that moment of inconsistency. So consistency is one thing you've mentioned here that is absolutely huge.
Right, exactly. The other thing I think that people forget is that not everybody tells you when they're upset.
Nope.
I'm certainly not one who's going to scream in public and cause a scene. And I may tell you, if people ask me if okay, I'm fine, because I'm just done dealing with it. I just need to get out of there. And I think the majority of people are like that. So if you or your teams don't have a way to recognize that people are really upset, and just take it for what they see or hear, which is I'm fine, and think that it's okay to just let them walk away, they've lost a client. There is enormous power in reaching out to people and apologizing for what happened, even after they've left your establishment. And you'd be surprised how many people are not expecting that. And the sheer fact of doing it and taking that extra effort, that extra 5 minutes out of your day to do that, and to really own that you made a mistake and say, I'm so sorry, and I realize how this has affected you. Most people come back and saying, that's exactly why I want to do business with you, because you care. We understand that things go wrong. We want to have it fixed, but you show that you care. And most people don't expect that level. So being able to turn it around effectively, whether it's a big upset or whether it's just a minor thing that people tend to just let slide, is a big strategy to have in place.
So one of the things you mentioned before that I really loved was this concept of having everyone at the company own this level of customer service. and you mentioned culture at one point in time. Does this have this kind of nice benefit of, yes, we're making the client happy, but in doing so, we're actually making people happy to do their jobs and to show up for work and be empowered
Absolutely.
to do so?
You need to empower your teams. You need to give them a bit of freedom to make it right for your clients. And when they do, it needs to be recognized. You need to have, even in a simple way, some form of recognition in place that they really actively see that they have just made an impact on how this client is experiencing the company, and that they've actively contributed to that success. And that needs to be recognized. It's what we all crave. We all want to hear, yes, what you did was tremendous, and look at the outcome you got. And when you nurture that pride in an employee, it perpetuates. It goes on. It builds motivation. It builds morale. It builds tremendous pride to work in the company and do what they do just naturally. Yes, it starts with hiring and having the right people in place. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. But your culture really needs to be almost the same, whether it's on the outside or the inside. So the way you treat your clients, the way you treat your guests, needs to be the same way you treat your employees inside. Otherwise, you have a double standard, and that just doesn't work.
Awesome. Now, everyone, Bertine actually has a free ebook that she's sharing with us. And Bertine, I'm going to ask you to tell us about it in just a second. But we've been talking about one of the mistakes that you make that really actually create disappointment with your clients. And I know Bertine has 4 more. So Bertine, go ahead and tell us a little bit about this ebook that you have. And Amy's going to put up the link for us.
Yeah, it has tons of information in it. And it's a really quick read. It's conversationally written. It's not a textbook. It's the way I talk. That's how you read it. So you can do it in 20 minutes probably. But basically identifies the 5 biggest mistakes. First one being really inconsistent and not having a solid team that knows how to perform. The second one, not being able to turn an upset client around, whether it's a big deal or a small thing, and downplay the little ones, which is actually very, very damaging. The third one is to really, the damage you do when you're treating people not special, when you treat them like just an average person. People want to feel special. And they need to know that they're important to your business. That's number 3. The number 4 is you're not adding value. And in the book is, for instance, a good example of an interaction I heard with a jewelry store where
we're having just a little bit of lag time with Bertine's Wi-Fi, and okay, we'll give her a second to go back in. She's just down on audio. Bertine, can you still hear us? Okay, so Bertine was sharing with us her mistakes that she finds in her ebook, and we've shared it in the chat box. But if you're listening to us at iTunes, you can grab that at yourbizrules.com/Bertine as a quick link to be able to get you there. But it is a great ebook that just kind of outlines how you're probably losing money in your business by not having a client experience in there. And I know Bertine's trying to come back on with us. I'm just seeing that she says she has a poor internet signal. So I'm just going to text her real quick. We always have a backup. I can, and then we'll get back on there. So, Amy, do you want to go ahead and do some shout outs while we're waiting?
Sure, but before I do that, I just thought I heard Bertine.
No, I can hear you fine.
Okay, good. Great.
I can see myself too. It's too bad you can't see me.
Well, we got you back, so that's really good. You were sharing with us, I think you were on the 4th or 5th mistake that you cover in your ebook.
The 4th mistake is that you're not adding value, and then again, it's always giving more than a client would ask. And one of the examples I have in my book was a lost sale in a jeweler store. I was waiting to speak to somebody, and I saw it happen right in front of my eyes, where this man was very excited about buying the top of the line diamond ring. super excited about proposing, but he took himself out of the game every single time because he had no idea how to go about proposing, where to do it, no restaurant, didn't know a florist, didn't know anything creative. And the sales clerk just kept on saying, oh, okay, well, come back when you're ready. And he literally walked out. So if you teach your teams to really be more helpful, you could develop a simple thing as just a list of venues for proposals. Put somebody in touch with somebody you know. Do some research about creative ways to propose for your jeweler. Put somebody in touch with a bridal fair planner, or there are so many possibilities. Had that happened, they would have had the sale, guaranteed. So it's much more than that. And the other example I have, for instance, in there was, again, I said right happening, very high-end store, a beautiful, larger size woman looking at a dress. And the sales clerk said, unfortunately, we don't have it in your size, ma'am. If you maybe go on a diet or lose a couple of pounds.
Oh, nice.
And I just go, oh my God, what did just come out of her mouth? Instead of saying,
wow,
hey, you know what? Like, I know this fabulous tailor. They do all custom made things. Here's the address. Let me put you in touch. Let me take a picture so they can do the lines and do something very similar for you. I'm sure it will look stunning at you. That person would have maybe not bought the dress there, but they might have come back to buy an accessory or a pair of jewelry or a purse, or talk to everybody they know how great the interaction was in that particular store. So that's what I mean by not adding value. And the other thing is, you're really losing clients and money because you're not saying yes. You need to live in a yes world. Like, yes, we can do that. There's too much of, no, I'm sorry, we can't. No, it's the policy. No, I'm sorry. No, it's whatever. No, it's Monday morning. It's no, no, no. It's in a yes world. And I have grown up in a yes world where people say, hey, I never say no. It's as crazy as that. So I don't think anymore. My brain has been so programmed to never say no to anything. People say I need to have a blue cheeseburger in New York, but I want it from this particular burger place in Vancouver. Can you ship it to New York? We just say, sure, what blue cheese do you want? I will figure it out. And that takes a mindset. You need to develop a mindset to do that. But if you look at all the superstars that are out there, rock artists that drive around in a leopard print car, right, with the matching leopard print Chihuahua outfit, right? Somebody had to do that. So there's too much going on of, well, you want to buy the car, okay, it only comes in blue, silver, gold, and rusty brown. Well, if I wanted the leopard print, there are ways to get that. So you need to say yes to what most people consider crazy stuff. And I don't consider it crazy stuff anymore. It's a mindset to get people to buy. You need a network for sure. You need to connect to people and be able to pull that all together and convince others to be part of this dream. But you'll be surprised how much you can accomplish if you have that mindset. And once you do and have these little miracles take place, it's a huge PR piece for you. Stories get told over and over and over and over, and they'll live 20 years from now still. It's huge, huge.
It is huge. I mean, you've talked about a couple things. People feeling special is huge. I always tell my clients, when we're dealing with how do they deal with their clients, I said, we need to give your clients a reason to chat. We need to be, oh, you're going to send them flowers. Great. Don't send it to their home. Send it to their office. Because half the fun of getting flowers is that there are 10 people that walk by and go, oh my gosh, they're such beautiful flowers. Where did you get them from? You're like, mine.
Yeah. And think about it. Wouldn't it even be better if you knew exactly what flowers would be appreciated? If you pick red roses or hyacinths, or if you know whether they appreciate a scent or a color, or if they might smell something, then it really is much more effective than your standard bouquet of flowers, right?
you bring that up because I had somebody much bigger than me that I wanted to send a bouquet of flowers because what they had shared with me or just shared in general was so powerful that I was like, man, I want to say thank you. And I just did that person's name and flowers going, maybe it's out there somewhere. Turns out the person had left a review on her favorite florals website. And so I knew who to call, and I went, we're going to hear, what is she like? And they're like, she hates orange. Great. Don't put anything orange in it, you know? And that's what makes a difference. And she even posted it on social media. It was kind of cool. She was like, thank you to Leslie. Like, that's really good. All right, Amy, let's do a few shout outs here.
Great. Well, I will welcome Corey and Steve, who just recently joined us. I'm sorry. And yeah, one or both of the dogs are barking quite a bit. I apologize. They're excited by what Bertine is sharing as well. And all that I'm learning.
That's what you know. So Bertine has offered a free ebook for us called Stop Losing Elite Clients Now. And it's still posted in the chat box at bertine.leadpages.net/free-ebook. So you can grab that, and we have all good stuff that we've been talking about is in there. Okay, Bertine, here's what I want to know. Yeah. Because we've been talking about adding value, and I know that adding value doesn't have to be complicated, but I think that's one of those misconceptions that business owners have, that when you add value to the client relationship, there's this myth that it has to be big and over the top. Let's talk a little bit about that and tell me maybe a couple more examples of just simple things that you can incorporate into your business that go a long way for clients.
Yeah, you know, when I work privately with clients, the first thing I teach is that it doesn't have to cost money. Most of the time, it doesn't cost any money. It is just you being very aware of things and making notes of what your customers are sharing with you all the time. And it could be as simple as setting up a file in your computer, or I actually do it on my iPhone. In my contact list, I add a little line to that, and whenever I have had lunch with a client, I add things to that. So, for instance, recently I had a client who I had lunch with and found out that they were going to Puerto Vallarta on vacation for a week. So I trade that in my phone, when they're going, what hotel they're going, why they're going, they have an anniversary, a birthday. I just make notes. I don't need to remember it. I set a calendar reminder that they're going out, and at that point I reach out to just wish them again a wonderful trip. And I have a friend who perhaps lived in Puerto Vallarta for years, so I said, I know that they're celebrating a birthday, an anniversary. I'm sure they're going to leave the resort at one point or the other. Can you share with me your top 10 great restaurants? So I put that together in my email, and it's very simple. It didn't cost anything. It's a little bit of relationship building that takes place. And the deeper that relationship gets with your clients, the more they want to do business with you, because they feel like they know you, or actually you know them more than anything. You need to know the dog's name, and the pet's name, and the kid's name, the grandkids, and the hobbies, and their challenges. And so I use that all the time. One of my own hairstylists does this very effectively. She has her client card with my hair color. It's a little gray normally if I wouldn't do anything. And so when she goes to the back to prepare my little bowl of color to put in my hair, she has made notes on it. So she comes back out of the kitchen, because puts the dye on my hair. She goes, hey, Bertine, how was your trip to da-da-da-da-da? And she remembers that. Somebody was sick in the family, or I was going to do something. She makes notes. So when I show up 6 weeks later, she can reference that. And it's extremely powerful. It's extremely powerful. So many people just say, oh, well, you need to use your client's name. To me, that's the most basic thing, to use their client's name. But knowing more about them on an intimate level is great. And then these little things that you want to do for them, whether it is sending them flowers, or they're going on a trip and you think, who do I know in my network? They're making a drive out of Dallas for a day. Who do I know? Where they're going to go? Share that information. It has nothing to do with directly a sale or a contract or anything like that. But what it does, it creates that sense of trust and respect and goodwill in the company.
You know, what I think is really interesting is we might have a business, especially when we tend to be higher ticket businesses. Somebody doesn't necessarily always need to purchase from us each and every week, each and every month. You know, that's a little more of a volume if I generalities. But if you have now created this position in your client's life where you are a resource for more than just your work, they have a reason to remember you, because when it's not, if it's a case of, I wonder who knows who, then they think of, oh, well, Bertine would know. Let me call Bertine. Or, you know, Amy would know. Let me call Amy. And it really does create that very long-term client satisfaction. So if you have a hard time staying top of mind, this is an excellent strategy for you. And usually your clients are asking you, do you know who, you know, in some way, shape, or form too. Or like you were saying, just really easy ways of, like, I go to Puerto Vallarta a lot. I love Puerto Vallarta. Just adding a little bit of value in there is really quite easy.
Exactly. Yeah.
So guys, I'm going to let you know, we're going to be taking questions if we have any in about 10 minutes. So if you've got those, feel free to put them in the chat box. We are talking about building an elite client experience, one that's based on value, that supports high-end clients, that really benefits everyone. So your business, as you've heard so far, Bertine sharing, your clients, your staff, all of those things kind of wrapped up in one. Now, Bertine, you talked a little bit about this two-scoop mindset. And I want you to go into that a little bit more. I mean, I think we've been giving examples, but I want you to define it just for our listeners, and, you know, so that they can kind of put that into practice for themselves.
The two-scoop mindset really comes down to anticipating what your clients are going to ask you next. And it's thinking ahead of them. You want to create a business transaction, a business deal where they are feeling so taken care of. And the two-scoop mindset could be as simple as you helping people get parcels to their car, you teaching your people to press an elevator button. You know, you can see it all the time around you. If you're in a large department store, there are clerks that are on tunnel vision like this, right? They don't see what your client needs. If you teach them what they need, you will see people being very aware of their surroundings, having a great radar. So when they see a client come out with parcels or arms or, you know, umbrella dripping wet, they know what this client would be thinking. They would be thinking, I need an extra finger to press that elevator button. I need somebody to put my drippy umbrella away. I need somebody to just hold my dog for 2 seconds while I do this. And so if your teams react to that, if they think for your client, for the guest, and just do it and say, oh, let me press the elevator buttons, let me carry this to the car, I have an umbrella, let me walk you across the parking lot because it's raining. It's all those little things that are hugely paying off, hugely paying off. So it's not something that is necessarily costing you anything. It's the training, it is the mindset you need to create in your company that everybody thinks that way.
Now, you mentioned a little earlier when you were talking about getting into this yes idea in your brain, getting into more of a yes culture versus a no culture. And I think when I've shared it with people, I talk about creating those Disney moments. And if you've ever been to Disney, they don't really ever say no to you. You know, they might not be able to fulfill what you want, but they don't really say no, which was a amazing thing for me to experience the first time. So let's talk about this yes culture and how you say, well, I'm not able to do that, but I would be able to do this in a way that's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah. It's, you know, the key is to come up with an alternative and to present it in such a way that I try to avoid words like no. Just say, you know, unfortunately, I wasn't able to successfully accomplish this for you. However, I have a great alternative that will give you the same benefit. How do you consider doing this? You need to look at really what they're trying to get out of their asking, their benefits is, and there are other ways to give it to them. It's just softening the blow of no, so to speak, right? It's giving an alternative that is sometimes even more helpful than what they're asking for. It's I remember doing business with a restaurant and everybody was fighting over the booth. And the hostess had to say, no, I'm sorry, the booth is taken. No, I'm sorry, the booth is taken. No, I'm sorry. And really what people want is some privacy, a little bit more space, and a quiet surrounding to maybe talk a little bit or spread out some paperwork. That's really why they want the booth, right? Or to keep a child between you and the ball, so the child doesn't run away, right? Well, any of us moms know that. So if you, again, pay the benefit, and as a hostess in a restaurant, for instance, would say, unfortunately, the booth is already reserved. However, I've got a great option for you. I've got a table of 4, just a 2 in the back. We can move it against the wall so your child can stay there. We've got some coloring things for you, a bit of crayons and a piece of paper. It's quiet, whatever the benefit is that they're looking for. I'm sure you were looking for a nice private conversation, a bit of space on your table. I can create that for you right here. And then one after the other, they say, oh, yeah, no problem. Instead of going, I didn't get the booth. That's the difference.
It is a difference. It is a
It's
difference.
the difference.
All right, guys, I'm not seeing too many questions. If you do have any questions, please put them in the chat box. We'll be taking them in just a few minutes. We're with Bertine Hage, talking about the elite client experience formula. Bertine, I want to hear, what's the process if somebody has been listening to us and going in through? What's the process that you take people through?
It's a 5-step formula. The first thing is you create clarity and commitment. Clarity on where you are right now in your business with the customer experience and where you want it to be or must be, actually, to have a real good competitive edge. I call it being the zebra with the colored stripe, right? You need to just be having a little bit edge over your competition. And then the other part that comes with the clarity is the commitment. You need to commit to doing this and commit to investing in your people. They're your biggest resource. Your labor cost is your highest in your company. And you need to get the most out of people. So develop them, throw a lot of learning at them. Step 2 is that I create confidence through competence. So teaching them skills that they need in how to talk to your clients, understanding what your most high expectation clients wants and what the world is like. And sometimes people say to me, well, I don't really have that many elite clients. Do I really need this? Yes, you do. Because you want to raise your bar here. You don't want to operate at a level of mediocrity. You want to be here. So even the most discerning clients can just easily be drawn to you. That's number 2. So creating confidence through competency. It comes with training, tools, support for line staff or your front-facing employees, as well as the managerial tools. A lot of managers just get promoted to the ranks because they're really good. They get a name tag, but they don't have a clue to really know how to have coaching conversations with their teams, how to hold them accountable, how to have them feel empowered and do what they need to do. Then the third thing is that we actually create a culture where your customer experience is number 1, and we take your transactional business into an experiential business. So instead of having a transaction, it's an interaction. A very functional situation to something that is really experience-based for your clients. Then we look at what you do. That's step number 4, what your processes are in your company. We're going, how can we turn that? How can we craft a client experience out of what you do that is so elevated compared to where you are right now that would make you really stand out? And then step 5 is that we create continuity. So we don't just do training, it needs to sustain. You don't want to just throw a bunch of training at people and think that they're going to just be different creatures tomorrow. They're not. So I have in that system, there are tools and support where people can incorporate it in daily briefings with their teams, where they have examples, where they can keep it alive, whether it's with their current team, whether they can new team members. whether it's a first day orientation where they again cover what they stand for, what the brand stands for, what their values are, and what the client experience should look like. So it's a to Z type of turnover of the company in a good way, but it's not complicated. It's all very, very doable.
It's all doable, and it's easy to, when you design it the right way, it's easy to maintain, and that's the key. I know with my clients, what I say the kiss of death is anytime we can't do something. So I almost would prefer you maintain average if you can't maintain superior, because at least it's consistent. Yeah. And people know what to expect from you. So we've gotten a couple more new people coming on. Amy, you want to do some shout outs?
Welcome Carlton. Carlton is from Lively Debate, and Jarhammer, or Joaquin. Jarhammer, that's his name, is Joaquin. And joined us recently too. So thank you for coming.
Awesome. I love that we've got a couple of things we've been sharing today, and Bertine's been going pretty deep on creating this client experience. Lively Debates saying that, building a process for this is the same thing as if you build a software. If you build it right, it's easy to maintain. If you're sloppy, maintenance is going to kill you. That is the truth there. So we're looking for any questions you might have, and I'll open up one more question to Bertine before we start to wrap up. But if this is the person who you would ask about really building that kind of unique, original client experience that truly supports high value pricing, high end clientele, and a positive work environment for everyone, one where you enjoy coming to work as much as your clients enjoy coming to see you. So we've got that. Go ahead and put those questions in, and we'll get those answered. So Bertine, we've talked a lot about a lot of things. I always like to see if there's something that you had on your heart that you wanted to share that we didn't quite get to yet, or wanted to make sure somebody heard this one last thing. Go ahead and share us. I cannot talk this afternoon. Share with us that now.
I love the comment saying the same with software. If you build it right, it's easy to maintain. If you're sloppy in the building, it'll kill you. Yeah, so it's so true. It's like this whole thing requires a foundation, right? A customer experience in a company requires a foundation. You need to have the structure in place. So, people refer to me all the time as they're like you're a customer experience architect, because you build the structure, and once you have the structure in place, you can maintain it. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just all these pieces fit together, and then it can sustain you long term. And that is just so critical for your success. It's nothing more frustrating than a little piece here, a little piece there, and the next shiny object, and think that that's important, because it's not. Because you can stick to one thing and just do it well.
Right. Awesome.
All right.
I know that's the way it's typically.
If you download the book, my contact information is in there, so feel free to send me an email. It's customerloyaltyexpert@gmail.com. It's in the book, and anybody who's interested in working personally with me, yes, feel free to contact me. We can take it from there.
So if you have just joined us, you probably missed Bertine's free book. It's called Stop Losing Elite Clients Now. Everyone needs to grab this book. I'll go ahead and have Amy put the link back out there again. If you're listening on iTunes, we'll do a quick link or a pretty link for you at yourbizrules.com/Bertine. So you have that, and that's BERTINE. We have been talking all about the client experience. We've covered so much ground, from everything to mistakes, to examples, to everything in between. And we're about to wrap up the show. I don't see any questions. Let's see. We do have something that just came through saying, okay, now Lively Debate is sharing here, and Bertine, you can talk to this just in a second, but says our customers love us, but we are having difficulty translating that into future sales. since our product is typically only repurchased every 2 to 5 years later. Now, lively debate, you missed a little bit of this, but this is so key. I want Bertine to kind of talk specifically to that and share that with us.
Yes, it's a good point, but it's your strength will be in maintaining those relationships. Having to pick it up 2 or 5 years later is much harder than maintaining these relationships. So send your clients things that they will value, or other products in, either I can't see what type of products you would sell, but other related products that may just benefit their life. Just keep putting things in front of them that may benefit them, that will keep you on the radar. Because all of a sudden, if you pop up 2 to 5 years later, when it's time to replace that product, they have forgotten you these last 2 to 5 years, and you want to remain there. So sometimes I do simple things. So just I come across an article and I'm thinking, oh wow, that would be really good for such and such individual, and I just say, hey, I've been thinking about you. I read this article, maybe it interests you. That's it, as simple as that. Because when it comes to renewing something 2 to 5 years later, they know who to go to. The people don't, we're creatures of habit. People like continuity in a lot of ways. You all go to the same hairdresser, you go to the same pub, you like the same bartender. We all do that because we feel comfy. Look at, people sitting on a bus or a train, they go to the same seat all the time. In a meeting room, if you have daily meetings, guaranteed 95% of the people at that meeting room will sit in the same seat. And it's because they're just habitual in what we do. So stay in front of them with helpful hints, tips, whether it's a newsletter, it's you don't have to invest a lot of time in it. Just know your client, set up your client database, and think of who you have that might share from certain information you come across.
Well, and I like that share, and especially at Lively Debate, it doesn't have to be so frequent that you feel like you're an annoyance. You can actually schedule this out, in as touches that you're having with your clients, either you, your salespeople, your project managers, whoever's in contact with it. And in fact, if 4 different people were on contact with the project, I would say 4 different people get a call scheduled to just be able to go out there. So everything from somebody's touching base 1 month out, somebody's touching base 3 months out, 6 months out, the whole 9 yards, and it becomes a process, and I love this one question, and Bertine kind of alluded to it earlier. Just when you're having conversations with people, you find out that they're going on to have vacations, they're going on to do something new in their life, or their kids, and things like that. But there's one question that I learned early on, and Bertine, you can tell me if you have a suggestion here too, is that what is really bothering you, or what's stressing you out right now that you just wish you could solve? Doesn't have to do anything with me, but I have connections and I would love to set you up with somebody that could help you.
Yeah.
That's a great question. How else would you kind of gain some of that information from your clients?
Yeah, you're cutting out of me. What was that question?
Saying, that was my kind of ideal of how I phrase it with my clients. But how would you suggest, for at Lively Debate, of another way that they really could kind of coax their clients in? So if you've called the phone and you're picking up, a great way of just saying, how else can I serve you, even though you don't need me right now, but what do you need? Let me help you.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It comes back to the human contact. I think what you're doing is brilliant that way. Because then you're not trying to sell them something. When it becomes a nuisance is when people feel you're about to sell them something. And it's not about that. And you need to get out of the mindset that you are going to sell them or put something in there. It's really about serving them at that time and solving a problem for them. And putting them in touch with somebody who is in your own network, who you know will benefit them. And that is the pavement to success. Absolutely.
So I know, other people that industries have this issue are realtors. People don't necessarily go buying a house every year.
Yeah.
It's a 3 to 7 year cycle. So they're great factors at little touches, inexpensive touches, so they can sustain it, and how they really become integral to their ideal clients' kind of lives. So guys, if you have any other questions for Bertine, and we're talking all about the client experience, we have just a minute or two. We'll go ahead, since we've had just a few more people join us. Amy, go ahead and put Bertine's free ebook out there so that they can go out there and get that as well. And we'll put that out for you guys. So we've got that. I'm just reading here. I'm glad we could help at Lively Debate. Thanks for joining in and chiming in. Really enjoyed that.
Great.
So Bertine, any parting words for us?
No, wish all of you success in your business. It was very exciting for me to be here, Leslie. Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. So, go make the world a better place. If we all give our clients just a better customer experience, think how the world would change. It's been forever my biggest pet peeve, having crappy service. So it's my mission to leave the world a little bit of a better place.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bertine, for joining us. And guys, thank you for hanging out with us for the hour. That's it for today. This has been the Double Your Business in 90 Days show. We've been talking about the client experience. Be sure to join us next week. We'll be back at 1:30 every non-holiday Monday at 1:30 Central here live on Blab or on iTunes at the Healthy Business, Healthy Family podcast show. And next week's topic is all going to be about how to guarantee explosive business growth now. We're getting to the halfway mark on your year. Don't be fooled into thinking that it just happens. We actually have to be very intentional about our growth in our business. So thanks so much for being here, Bertine. Thank you, Amy. Thank you as always.
Great.
And
everybody.
Bye. We'll talk with y'all soon.